You're watching The Whole Living Show on Trajectory TV. Oh, and it looks like I was frozen for a minute there. But hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of The Whole Living Show. I am so glad that you're here, that you're joining us tonight. And we have my sister, my friend here on the show tonight. And we're going to get into just some really profound, probably profound, because she always goes profound, even I think when she's not trying to. But she gave me a topic, you guys, when I was talking to her via Messenger: everyday alchemy. Ooh, how good is that? So I wanted to read to you before I even get into my other topic for tonight, because I'm super excited about this. And I've been watching some of her lives, and she just takes it there naturally. It's so smooth and it's so calming, but just so natural and so profound and so useful and insightful. So I just wanted to give you a definition, and I'm giving you the spiritual meaning of alchemy, because if you look at alchemy by the definition in the dictionary, just normal definition, it's not really meaningful, honestly. So the spiritual definition is the act of inner transformation. It is healing and freeing the inner parts of yourselves that need to be changed. By transforming these parts of us, it leads us to inner liberation, freedom from our fears, from our beliefs that no longer serve us, from our soul loss, and other self-destructive disorders. So I love the spiritual meaning, and I really should. Let me just give you the difference so you can see what I'm talking about here. I want to give you the actual definition, which really doesn't mean that much, you guys, and forgive me, but I got to do this to you, because, you got to look up the meanings of words. It means a lot. So the meaning, if you just go by the regular definition, it says a seemingly, get that word, seemingly magical process of transformation, creation, or combination. But you got to listen to that seemingly that comes in the front of it. So I don't know if anybody out there read The Alchemist, but if you didn't, you better go get that book and read it, because there's nothing seemingly about what happens in life and what the divine does for you. That's why I wanted to read you the spiritual definition of that word. Also, when you look at some of the synonyms, check this out. Chemistry, okay, that's fine. Magic, sorcery, Sorcery, really? Witchcraft, enchantment. That's what the dictionary gives you. So I don't know if you all believe in alchemy out there. I definitely do. And we're going to get into this conversation. But before we do, I got to give you some news sometimes, everybody, especially when it relates to things that we are consuming in our lives. So, back in 1938, there was this drug called, and forgive me if I'm not pronouncing it right, because it is a long name. It's phenylephrine, and it's a decongestant. And back in 1938, it was permitted for it to go in many of our cold medicines. Well, just yesterday, the FDA has unanimously voted that this particular ingredient in cold medicine is ineffective. So I don't know what this is going to mean for the cold medicine industry. I gather that they will start taking this out, or they might just leave it in and let you go for what you know or what you've already known. However, pretty big that the FDA now says that this is ineffective. So we'll see what happens here. But listen, you guys know I always err on the side of the natural, right? So a lot of these ingredients are ineffective because they are man-made ingredients, chemically induced ingredients. And I'm not knocking the medical profession, but now the FDA is saying that this ingredient that has been in there since 1938 is no longer effective, and it is found in all of your popular cold medicines. I mean, they're naming the brands. It's found in the ones that you know on the shelf in your local drugstore or grocery store. So, pay attention to ingredients. I'm just going to say that again. As I always say, pay attention and look the ingredients up. If you don't know what they are, look them up before you start to consume these things. So now, here's a chemical that people are putting in their bodies that doesn't even work the way they originally thought that it's supposed to. So, pay attention, err on the side of the natural. If you need help with that, I'm your girl, the Reset Coach. I got you covered. Give me a call. But we're going to get into this conversation on alchemy. And you can see here that I've got this euphoric t-shirt on. I can't take credit for this t-shirt. My son actually got this t-shirt and it was too small because his muscles are bigger than mine now. Yep, you heard it. 16 years old, muscles are bigger than mine. So the t-shirt was too small. So I was like, I'll take it because I like the word euphoric. And on the back of it, if I can show it to you, you guys, it says, I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to it has the 800 number, for you to get your mental health in check. And it says, are you really happy? So when we start to talk about alchemy and accepting, the transformation, the inner transformation, I believe, and we'll see what my beautiful guest says, I believe that you will start to live happy, to live a joy-filled life. And that is a question for everyone out here today. So, euphoric is the t-shirt. And yeah, how fitting. And I had this t-shirt on before I even called my sister, before I text her rather and message her. I had this t-shirt on already. So how fitting. And then she came up with that topic. So we're going to bring her in. We're not going to delay this anymore because I know this conversation is going to be good. Hey!
Seriously, hello.
Hello. I just love you. I was looking at some of your videos. And I saw one with you, T. Nicole, and another young lady. And man, oh man, those conversations just get really good. You had another one where you were in your car driving, and I'm like, she's so on point, and it's so effortless. You know what I mean? So when you think about that word alchemy, and just think about yourself, just me knowing you and just hearing you speak and being in your presence, what does that word mean to you? Because you exude it.
Yeah. That's a deep question off the job. Alchemy.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's one of those words that you hear and you do associate it with a bunch of dark things. Mm-hmm. And it's dark because, we talk about knowledge and wisdom and we associate that with light. Well, the things that we don't know tend to become dark.
Yeah.
So alchemy is just, I feel like, has remained dark for a long time because people haven't shed the light of knowledge on it to get to know what it is. It's like a person, you wouldn't invite someone into your house that you never had a conversation with. So of course you're not comfortable talking about something that you have no reference for. But alchemy is simply taking will already exist and creating something new and pure with it. That's simply it. That's what it is.
That. I love that. And that just goes back to, and I was thinking about this earlier today because I was on Bathroom Moments this morning and we were talking about clearing the litter, the junk that you have. Um, and I always go back to the Bible verse of, all things are working for my good.
Yeah.
And you just made me think about that again because you
Mhm.
just talked about how you take something, right? That you already know, and you kind of you change that, you transform it, you change your
Yeah.
mindset around it, you build different beliefs around it. So when
Yeah.
you say to yourself, and I have to remind myself, right, because I'm a spiritual being living in this human body, right, and
Right.
on earth, right. So I have to
Yeah.
remind myself that even when the times get tough, all things are really working for my good, and there's always a big
Yes.
purpose and reason for it. So get into that a little bit. Go a little bit more into
Okay. So everything is working for our highest and greatest good.
that.
And we say a lot of things in cliche ways,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but I can tie every positive and negative cliche into alchemy
Yeah.
because it's truly just taking what you believe, what you used to believe, what you now believe. Hey, Jamie! And you are deciding, you're making decisions, you're discarding that which you once had, right?
Mm-hmm.
You once was using that, whether it was because you were lying to yourself, or
Mm-hmm.
whether it was because it was a defense mechanism, or whether it was a result of trauma, whether it was passed down to you by whomever for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
We take those things and we have to look at them at some point and say, I'm going to keep it or I'm going to discard it.
Yeah.
And as you go through your life, the life that's designed for your highest good,
Mm-hmm.
you are presented with different situations to make different decisions.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, how many of us have ever gone back to an elementary school? Now, we all went to elementary school, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you go in there and it's just like, why is everything so little? Like,
Yeah.
I sat in that desk, but once you grew out of that desk, you didn't even think about that desk anymore because it didn't even make any sense. But how many things are we doing right now in life out of complete habit or habitual inheritance? Because it was your mama's habit
Mm-hmm.
or your daddy's habit.
Mm-hmm.
You can alchemize that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
take what you have and you say, this does still serve me. This does not serve me. And as you decompartmentalize yourself and then gather the pieces that you already had and you still have left, you then become a new creature.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So
Everyday alchemy.
yeah, this is good. This is good. There's so much synergy here. This has been an all-day conversation. So I always say there's no mistakes, right? So when you brought that subject up, there's no mistakes because we were talking about this morning, and Jamie Lane can identify with this. She's out there watching. She was just talking about keeping, what serves you, what's a resource and what's sustainable, and basically throw away the rest of it, right? And that's basically what you're saying. And you have the power to choose.
You do.
You decide.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. We do. And I really I don't know why. My hands are shaking. But I want to say this to somebody who's going through starting to discard trauma, traumatic experiences, traumatic memories, traumatic habits. At times when we start to discard things, we feel a void. And we characterize that void sometimes as, hey, Charles. We characterize that void as loneliness or depression or isolation. But could it just be maybe that life has created a space for you to dump out everything and take a look at it?
Yeah.
When things start to clear out in your life, that's when it's time for you to fill up that space with all. Can you cuss on here?
Hey, it's an evening show. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dump all the bullshit out.
Right.
Dump all the bullshit. Get all of it out. Get all of it out. Get all of it out. The things that you think are good, still take it out.
Yeah.
The things you think are A1 solid, you're gonna keep doing it. Still take it out.
Mm-hmm.
Still take the time to look at yourself from a perspective of the God in you, the decision maker in you.
Yeah.
The one who's in the laboratory, the dark laboratory of alchemy. And saying, okay.
And I have this comment to say to that, right? Mm-hmm. If you haven't been in the dark one time or another, you really won't know what the light is all about, right? So you have to go through those dark periods. So that's not a bad thing. You know, we associate the darkness with being a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You know, sometimes you need to sit in the darkness so that you can recognize the light.
Yeah. And that goes back to those definitions. Like I was saying, sometimes we characterize it as depression and, you know, whatever it is for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we characterize it as happiness. We get very addicted to happiness. Mm-hmm. That also is something that's just a means for you to see what is in that pile that's creating that. Mm-hmm. What's creating the happiness. We need to know that too. But what's creating those dark spots? Yeah. Dark spots. The spots we don't want to look at, the things we're not familiar with. Like I was just saying, the stranger that came into your house. Yeah. You don't know what they want. That the triggers that happen. Mm-hmm. Alchemizing. Yeah. Alchemizing. Yeah. Let it go face to face with, this is what makes me happy. And let that go face to face is, this is what depresses me. Mm-hmm. And then you get to look at them and choose.
Yeah. And we were talking, so I got to keep going back because there's just so many synergies happening here. But everything that you're saying, I so identify and resonate with. And that we were talking about those things and how you had these opposite sides. Identify them clearly. Right? Don't give them some general name. You got to be specific about what it is. What is the thing that makes you happy? And name it, right? And call it. Right. So that you can call it into your life and do the same thing with the opposite side. Whatever that thing is that's causing you some trauma or challenges or whatever that feeling is, name it so that you can discard it. Because if you don't really know what you're supposed to weed out and what you're supposed to allow in.
And I do believe that in that discarding process, give it the reverence that it deserves. Anything that captures your attention deserves your respect. It really deserves respect. So if you were doing something or acting in a way or living in a way that was causing you pain or was holding on to something that was causing you pain, just something as simple as saying, you know, had I not noticed that this was causing me this pain, I would not have realized the freedom that I could have been experiencing. Yeah. So in this moment, I appreciate this coming up for me now. I appreciate this coming up for me here because it is the reason why I was given the decision to choose freedom. Yeah. I'm going to choose freedom. Thank you. You have served me well, and let it go. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that's going to work for everybody. I am not alchemist-atician.
And you just heard a new word here.
Heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, heard it here first. I wanted to address what Charles just said because I love what he just said. Darkness was framed as evil in order to promote a psychological trauma and low self-esteem and self-worth. Yeah, and there's so many alchemist statistician. There you go. You got a new word.
That's the one. Webster, if you're out there, give me some credit. You got to pay me, but give me some credit.
That's right. And you know, words start to make the dictionary as people say them more and more.
Yeah. So, hashtag.
That could be a whole show in and of itself. So I won't name the words, but I'm going to say, people, if you're using some words that wasn't originally a part of the it's not correct. But I love what he said here. Because it just goes back to what you were saying, right? Like there's so many things that were intended some purposely, some not purposely, right? Intended for us to be in a state of trauma or a state of fear, right? So talk a little bit about that. And I wanted to, two parts here, talk a little bit about that. And then also talk to people about how they start to identify and come up out of whatever the trauma, the challenge, the disorder, the depression, that whatever that is, how they start to come up out of it.
Okay. All right. So first, you were talking about adopting old beliefs, like things that's handed down to you, or things that you've experienced. And again, you know, a lot of trauma responses, they do help us. They do assist us. The triggers help us to know when we are being threatened by something, but we tend to create that ditch. It's what I call it. Like when you think of, visualize with me, water dripping somewhere. The longer it drips there, the deeper it drips, right? If you move it over, it starts the process all over again. So sometimes it can be a matter of changing your focus. If you are constantly thinking about an occurrence, put it in your head to automatically shift to something else. It doesn't have to be very far from that. A lot of times we try to go too far from that, right? You know, say for instance, something happened on a day, and that day was a nice day. Think about how nice that day was before any of that ever happened. How nice of a day was it? Because you know it's 24 hours in a day, and an incident that happened over a span of probably only took 5 minutes for the incident to happen, right? And then all of that other part of the day, we act like it never happened.
Yeah.
We can do that to, you know, sometimes it's our belief that we are inheriting from day to day to day. We inherit the same thought that we had yesterday. And I was like, I'm glad y'all didn't see my face when I came up there. You got that right. I mean, joking about it.
Right.
But I wanted to tell this little story that I got from Dr. Sue.
Sure.
She said that there was a lady, and her husband's favorite meal was a baked ham. And every so often he'd want that baked ham. And the daughter realized that every single time her mom cooked the ham, she cut the round tip of it off. She was like, I wonder if that's got to be some kind of fancy secret, you know, to make it taste better. Maybe it sucks the juices up more, you know, like I'm going to figure out whatever. And she's like, because I bet she don't even realize. So I'm going to watch a couple more times and see if that's what she's doing. Every time, 2 or 3 more times. Every time she cooked that ham, she cut that tip off of that ham. And she said, I'm just going to come out and ask her, Mama, now why do you cut the tip off that ham? And she was like, what are you talking about? She was like, every time you cook a ham, that round part, you cut it and you throw it away. Like, does that do something? She was like, that's just how I cook a ham. She's like, well, why can't you just cook the ham with that on it? She's like, that's how my mama taught me to cook the ham. And she was like, well, did you ever ask her why she cut it off? She's like, you know what I had? And so she called her mom.
Wow.
She said, oh, why do you cut the ham tip off of that ham? And she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, when you used to cook the ham when we was growing up, when you taught me how to cook the ham, you told me to cut the tip off the ham. She said, yeah, because it wouldn't fit in the pan otherwise.
That is hilarious. And look at the question there. What are we doing out of habitual inheritance? That is hilarious. And did she just discard that piece?
Just threw it away for no reason. She thought it had something to do with something other than the size of the pan. So from then on, she just went, she said, and the whole time her ham could always fit in the pan.
Right. Wow.
So we adopt these things that make no sense. We don't dive into them. And I dare say the Bible is one of them.
Yeah.
We read it. We memorize it. We quote it and we cherry pick it. But did you dive into it?
Oh yeah. And
once you go back and
once you start, how powerful.
That's why I got this third eye wrapped up today. Got to keep it wrapped up.
Yes.
Yeah. When you start to dive into it. But again, we're talking about alchemy, where you're taking seemingly magic to create something new. That becomes the magic of life.
Yeah.
It's you start to see different outcomes for yourself.
Yeah.
You start to take inventory every so often of the things that you are using that you already have, and seeing, number one, are you utilizing the things that are good and amplifying them? And are you discarding of the things that no longer serve you?
Yeah.
Are you going head to head with the things that depress you, with the things that make you happy?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and once again, I'm just going to say this again. You get to decide. You get to decide. You don't have to do it the way your mama did it. Don't cut that ham off just because.
Girl, you wasting good. I mean, you wasting good ham.
You get to choose. I love that. Oh, man. Man, oh, man, oh, man. And I'm just reading some of the comments here. Resources. Yes. Resources. And take what you have. So it says, see new outcomes, take inventory, keep what serves, and discard what doesn't. Just let it go. And it's okay.
Absolutely.
And
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is okay. So I think the most important thing when you are thinking about that, it's not to affect anything other than yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Come on, because I know you're going somewhere. Come on.
You really. I did this YouTube video, and it's just I was washing dishes one day, and I'm constantly recording myself talking. And I started thinking about the concept of sharing things with people that comes up for you, and having conversations with people about things that come up for you. And when you can see it in yourself, and you start to notice things that you are saying to people because you need to tell them something, or you need information from them about what you're saying, kind of reevaluate why you're saying it at all. But if you have something that needs to be said, regardless of how they take it, what they think about it, what they're going to say about it, how they're going to feel about it, because it's in you to say it, when you know that you're starting to make decisions based off of the things that you've been looking at inside of you, versus the things that's been happening outside of here, and you're responding to them with words.
Yeah.
You're not having a conversation with yourself. You're having a conversation with the world. And true alchemy has nothing to do with anyone but you.
Yeah.
The conversation you have with you.
Yeah. And
I can tell you had something to say. I was like, go ahead.
Because you just think about, I always think about when God gives you a message. And it does have to do with you and what's happening inside. Even if that message is for somebody else, it's still about what's happening in here, right? And I want people to think about this. Even though you know that you're supposed to give somebody a message, right? Recognize what you're supposed to get from it as well. Because there's always something in my experience, right? There's always something that you're supposed to get out of that too. So, you don't go around just, and I'm going to say this word, and this is one of those words that have a negative connotation, right? But don't go around vomiting everything on people, right? I'm saying really pay attention, not even just listen, pay attention to what it's meant for, because it's for something for them, but it's also something for you. I had to say that because my coach, Dr. Lauren, he always says it's never about just one thing. And it really isn't. It really isn't. And there's something that you need to get out of that.
Yeah.
Also. Ooh, girl. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back because this conversation is so good. So good. Everybody stay tuned. We will be right back.
Imagine a verdant paradise that stands as a convergence of worlds, a living temple of native wilderness, a place where the full potential of inherent human and earth magic can be seen, felt, and understood. a space that attracts the brightest and best of educators on the leading edge. A place of permaculture designed for the benefit of future generations.
Without truth, freedom doesn't exist. My soul has always been based on the principles of freedom, which is getting to the core or truth of an issue. Choosing the name Radical Press embodies me. When you look at the etymology of the word radical, it's about getting to the root of shit, derived from the Latin word radix, which literally means root. Press is the medium in which we use. Press can be in print, video, voice, or any type of media that gets information to the people. Radical Press magazine is about bringing truthful information and real knowledge to the people through a different lens.
All right. Frozen over here. Technology is wonderful, but
I'm sorry. This is my favorite. If I get started, I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna stop.
It's like robot. I know.
That's the face I just
Exactly.
Oh, good. She know better than to get me started. Okay.
This wonderful technology, I tell you. But if nothing else, we can laugh at it, right?
Oh yeah.
We are here, everybody. So I wanted to just highlight, and I see, hey, Eric Scott out there and Jamie Lane. They have this wonderful magazine called Radical Press Magazine, which yours truly is a contributor in the magazine. Super excited for the next issue. Listen, if you did not catch the issue that was released on August 20th, you need to go back and you need to look at that issue. It is a totally different experience. It's an experience, this magazine. It's not just a digital magazine. It is a whole entire experience. Every contributor's pages within this digital magazine are so different and just so real to the life of the person. It is amazing. What they have created is something super special. So, there you go. magazine.radicalpress.org/edition1. Make sure that you go out there, you get it. We're going to put this on the show page as well. Make sure that you get it. And the next issue is coming out September 20th, everybody. So make sure that you look for it. It's something very special, very different. And I guarantee you will read this one like no other magazine that you've ever read before. So got to thank Jamie Lane and Eric Scott for just the amazing creativity that they have and what they're giving to the world. So had to mention that. Yes. And you can catch the ladies of Radical Press, which are our wonderful producer, Brandy Johnson, Dominique Rivera, Jamie Lane, and we have Summer as well. You got to catch us. You got to catch us on the 27th right here on the Whole Living Show as well. So just wanted to mention that. But we're going to get back into this conversation, everybody, because alchemy is real. Yes. And I want to give the definition again for those who are joining after the commercial break. Listen, we're talking about alchemy. And there's no woo-woo behind alchemy. You may have thought so before. There's no woo-woo. So I'm going to give you the definition, dictionary definition. Then I want to give you the spiritual definition. So it is a seemingly magical process of transformation, creation, or combination. And as I said before, there's some words that they tie to it that are similar, which is sorcery and magic, witchcraft, enchantment. And this is why, if you were paying attention earlier, if you saw us earlier, you heard Carrie, Irene, Crosby talk about how it's considered dark. Yeah. The spiritual definition is the act of inner transformation. How beautiful is that? It's healing and freeing of the inner parts of yourselves that need to be changed. And I'm going to leave it right there. It goes on, but that's the gist of it. So we've been talking about that, and Carrie's been giving some great insight on, how to do that and how to recognize it. Has an open invitation to share. Yes, I'd love to have one of her thoughts. See, we're making connections right here. This is
I'm always ready to rant.
Yes, here for it, and I'm sure it'll be amazing because you've been listening to Carrie for the last 30 minutes. You already know what she brings to the table. So Absolutely. So
That's good stuff.
yes. So I want to talk about how to start. We started talking about how to start discarding some of those things that don't serve you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people associate me with my program, the DIE program. And it is a program that I use to take steps through a process for clients. But that process started because I took that process on me, and it didn't have anything to do with business. Now, most of the people that come to me is because they have an idea, they birthed an idea, and then I always say a lot of times what happens is we have an idea, and that idea is our baby, but then the ideas start having babies. Because in order to support an idea, it branches off into supporting ideas that would make that idea come to fruition. So then the idea has an idea, and the idea has an idea, and we're like, oh my God, that's going on in here.
I'm overwhelmed now.
Oh God. But that's when the alchemy session starts. That's when we get in the laboratory. That's when we take the pot out and make the fire as hot as we can so that we can purify these things. We can take all the confusion off of them and look at them for what they really are. So because I do that, a lot of people, come to me because it's business. They got an idea. They want to launch something. They want to be, whatever. But truly what I built it for was for people to purify themselves. I found myself just loving who I was to everybody else. But for some reason, I felt like I was numb in the process. Have you, and again, this is an adult show. Have you been spending too much time, and y'all use your adult minds, and yes, go to the gutter. Have you spent so much time pleasing yourself in an unpleasing way that now you're numb to sensation?
Ooh. Say that again for everybody.
Have you spent too much time pleasing yourself in the wrong way that now you're numb to sensation? Which is the very reason I don't own a toy. Me myself. So I'm not taking the risk.
I don't either.
I'm not taking the risk. It's too much, y'all. It's too much. You're doing too much, okay? And slow down. God.
I needed to have a judgment. Come on.
Come on. Too much.
Yes. Oh.
Discounted, because good Lord, I understand it is good in situations. However, there's nothing like when you take the time to get where you want to go. Ain't nothing like it. Don't even play with me. I don't care if you only made a little slow one time. I guarantee you it's good.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna just do this real quick insert. Because if you go fast, a lot of times you've been doing something that you didn't really like anyway. Slow it down, and then you be like, "Have we been doing this the whole time?"
And yes, and I love that. I was just about to say that. Once I discovered myself, yes. And how do you really understand? And this is not just sexual. I'm just saying, how do you really understand the pleasure from someone else if you don't know it for yourself?
Yep. That is so true. That is so true. And be okay with saying, I don't like that. Because we have this, and I'm going to associate this, and I know y'all making the connections, and we all in the gutter, but I'm about to bring you out of it. These are the conversations you have to have with yourself, though.
Yeah.
Before you ever interact with anyone about what pleases you.
Yeah.
So with this DIE program, I used this personally, and it didn't have anything to do with sex. It had everything to do with me. I saw myself pleasing so many people in so many ways when I was numb to what that felt like for me. I didn't know what that felt like for me. I knew I was happy, but I didn't feel happy. I knew there wasn't nothing wrong, but it felt like something was wrong.
Yeah. Come on.
Ain't even nothing wrong. But it's just right. You know why? Because you haven't touched you, because you got too much thing in between you and you that when you touch you got so much residue in there that it feels fake.
Yeah. And the words of my sister Jamie Lynn, you got to clear out the shit.
Get that shit out of here.
Yes. Yes. And you know, we had a conversation via messenger too about that corporate life, but I can remember the first time, right? Like just being in it initially, and what made me, you know, kind of break out. And I mean, when I say break out, I was really like coming out of the cocoon.
Yeah.
But that's where I was. That's where I was, like just happy but not happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just not feeling real. I was numb. I was definitely numb.
Yeah. And and this is no discredit to any type of trauma, but if you are unhappy, it doesn't matter if you ready to do something destructive to yourself physically, or whether you're ready to live out the rest of your life unhappy.
Yeah.
It's just a very slow death.
Yeah.
It's a very slow escalation to trauma.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we heard the story? And again, we tell these stories, but we don't actually identify with them. How many times have we heard the story that, you know, when people get old, you know, they sit on their bed and what you're going to think is, what did I do in my life? Not what did I have, but what did I gain? And we romanticize these stories, but you better take a second to really think and digest that statement.
Yeah.
We got the money. We got the house. You got the dog, 2.5 kids, and a white little fence around all of it. And you know good damn well you're not happy. But we settle for it because if you look up happy, it says married, house, dog, 2.5 kids, and a fence around. Yeah. But sometimes happy looks like, and when I felt happy when I was homeless. I had stuff, but when I was stripped down to me in my car, driving down the road with all the windows down, where there ain't nobody to tell me shit.
That's right.
I felt happy.
Yes.
I felt so happy. I didn't have a pot to piss in. Woo! I feel happy though.
You said that statement, and I was just thinking about my grandmother. I don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
They didn't got no window. They didn't have a window. But
I couldn't help that one. But that's so true. So true.
It is.
True.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and often when life is at its simplest, right, is when there's more happiness. Like I didn't discover true happiness until after I had cancer, and it's because it woke me up. But if that didn't happen, I probably would have still been like you said before, like when I was, you know, frozen. Right? So sometimes you got to get knocked over your head. But this is why Carrie is here, so that you don't have to get knocked over your head with some, you know, big life event to make you realize that you're not living happy, because there are ways to discover it. And I always say life is a voyage. So just be ready to take the journey, right? So talk about some of the stuff that you help people just like really discover that simple happiness. Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna give them the dive program. You ain't gotta come to me and pay me for it. If you want me to walk you through it, come on, I'm ready for you. You don't need me. I'm gonna tell you that up front. Wow. That's free. Wow. You don't need me. Dive stands for dump, investigate, visualize, and execute. You just need to dump all that shit out and take a look at it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. Because there's a lot of indifferent things in there too. That we realize that don't even matter. It don't even matter. Yeah. Like sometimes we're thinking about what such and such said back in high school, and that's why we don't wear blue, because somebody said we didn't look good in blue. Put blue on and see. Yeah. And I mean, when you do it intentionally. Pick the outfit, pick the shade of blue, pick the shoes, pick the makeup, the eyeliner, the earrings, the necklace. Get your nails done and look good in that color that you have been telling yourself that Shamika didn't like you in blue.
That's right. I can remember being teased about, you know, my wonderful forehead here, my dome. So I used to, in high school, right? I used to cut my own bangs. because I was listening to what other people had to say about my forehead until I came to the realization, like, this is beautiful and this is me, and I'm gonna embrace it.
I'll be real honest with you right now. I have never, since knowing you, ever thought you had an abnormal forehead.
Girl,
not once.
When I was in school. When I was in high school, I'm telling, junior high school and high school is when, and I used to get teased a little about my forehead. Now somebody says something, I'm like, whatever. I know who I am now. I don't care what you say, but it was a thing for me. And I really, and I had my hair was like Shaka Khan when I was little. I had a lot of hair, and I always had I found some way to cover up this forehead.
Man,
now you see, I pull it back.
Girl, you glowing. All I know. That's all I see. I see like clear out the shit.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm glad you cleared that out, girl. Please.
But even something, like that, you have to just say, you know what? I don't care. You were talking about, the indifferent and not caring about what people have to say. Oh, thank you. I'll take it. I love her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, she is. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
that's awesome. So so just dump everything out. Look at all of it. Good, bad, ugly, all the stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just want to just put a pin in this too. That the definition of alchemy being to go inside, it is going to be a little dark. Mm-hmm. But that's where you are. Mm-hmm. And then when you go there, guess what else you are? Light. Yeah. You shine a light on the things that you see in there. And one at a time, just where your light is shining, one at a time, you make a decision. So that's where the eye comes. I mean, the eye comes in. Investigate that. Okay, what is that? Where'd that come from? Do I really still believe that? If I do believe it, is that belief serving me? Because you can't change your beliefs, right? Right. Because I think most of y'all out there believe in Santa Claus.
That's right.
And you don't no more.
And you don't.
And if you still do, I'm sorry. I just supposed to put the kids to bed. I hope the kids is in bed. Oh
no. Public service announcement here.
I'm so sorry.
Santa Claus is not real. You heard it here first. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
I never believed in Santa Claus, so I don't know what that experience is like. So it baffles me, but I do apologize all the parents.
Yeah, well, I give you a story on that too. I have a son, right? And I told him early that there was no Santa Claus, and my family was so mad at me. They were, my mom, like, right? Austin, like, why are you ruining it for him? I'm like, I'm not ruining it.
No, you ruined it.
He's getting everything that he was, but you know what? He needs to know his mom did that.
Yeah, you got that right. Who is Santa Claus?
Right.
He didn't even connect to my family tree, I don't think.
And I never saw his butt coming down my chimney.
Yeah, how horrifying. He gonna come where? What time? What time did you come?
With flying reindeers?
Right on the roof. Who comes up with this stuff? Anyway. Okay, so once you dump it all out and look at it, and you start to investigate where it came from, is it serving you, is it not? And you create your keep and discard list, start to visualize your life with or without it. Because if you decide to keep it, visualize what your life is with that. Mm-hmm. If you decide to discard it, visualize what your life is without that. Especially when it comes to pain. Just think about visualizing life without that memory, or that person, or that place, or that vice. A lot of us have some vices that we created because of a coping mechanism, a stress reliever, smoking, drinking, biting your nails. I used to bite the inside of my jaw. Like, I would bite it raw. Like, just, it was weird. And it was weird. Like, I even thought it was, for me, I'm just like, what is this? But it was just this nervous thing. And I still do it sometimes. I find myself doing it, especially when I'm at work and I'm on a deadline. Those little things, all the things, everything with it, without it. What's life like? What is life like? And then execute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put your big girl panties on or put your holy drawers on. Don't matter which one, or go free balling. I mean, I personally, anyway. However you dress for the day, know that you have decided.
You really get that inner freedom.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Let it all hang out, right? But know that as you go through your day, that you made a decision today to leave something behind or to take something with you. And let that be aware of that you had a decision and you chose to keep something or you chose to discard something, and the power that lies within that. And do that for everything. Anytime you get stuck, anytime you get an idea, anytime there's somebody you're like, I just don't know what to do about this person, dump everything out about that person. Investigate what that person does for you, don't do for you, what you like, how they make you feel. Do they lift you up? Are they of good use, or are they a hindrance? All the things. And then visualize your life with that person, without that person. Execute on that. Everything. The food choices. Something been upsetting your stomach, you're not sure what it is, dump it out. What have you been eating? Start keeping a food journal. And then notice the times that your stomach doesn't feel well. And now say, do I want to keep it? Do I want to discard it? Execute on that. Everything.
Yeah.
Because you have to dive into you.
Yeah.
You have to research you.
Yeah.
That's everyday alchemy.
Yeah.
Everyday alchemy.
Yeah.
Dive back into you.
And I love that you said every day, right? Because like I said, it's a journey, it's a voyage. It doesn't stop. You don't do it once and then think that everything's gonna be, rosy. It's not gonna be euphoric just from one time. Right? So you need to do this on a regular basis. And I always say, like, my mantra, right, is every day is an opportunity to reset. It's how I became the reset coach. In the first place, it's a journey, everybody. So these are things that you have to practice on a regular basis. So listen, we are very close to the end of the show. I hate that we are, because this is so much fun.
Alchematician.
Do this on a regular basis, because
I would love it.
There is so much to give. Everybody out there, listen. If you were looking at alchemy and you're like, I don't really know what that is, or I'm wondering, or I want to try it because I need some inner peace. I need to transform. You got Carrie Irene Crosby right here that you could take a dive with.
Yes, you can.
You can change your inner self and make your outer self better in the process, right? So dive in with Carrie, learn about alchemy, learn about dive, get your life together, figure out what's making you happy, figure out what's not. Dive in with Carrie. That's all I'm going to say. You heard her talk about it here. I don't need to say anymore. Really. Carrie, do the last words. Give us the last words.
Well, I'd say anywhere I go, the one thing that I always want to leave behind is love. I want you to know that I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yes.
That's it. Those are my final words.
Yes. You heard it here, everybody. This has been another amazing episode of The Whole Living Show. I'm so glad that you blessed us today. And this was so much fun in the process too. But I know everybody out there, if you just catching the end of the show, make sure you go back and watch, because this was so good and so insightful. So much there. Carrie, you're amazing.
You're amazing.
Thank you so much for coming on. We gotta talk about something else.
Be
here on a regular basis, because she just got so much to share, and you are constantly transforming. I just see you like just the things that come up and come out as you are doing your lives and everything. It's just absolutely amazing. So I appreciate you. I thank you for coming. Everybody, you look for her again here on The Whole Living Show, because she definitely has to come back.
I sure will. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean White. So tune in next week. We are going to have Michelle Johnson, the PA, I'm sorry.
Pain-free PA. I know her.
I was saying this all
She's awesome.
like 2 weeks ago. The pain-free PA is coming. The stress strategist, she is also known as. She will be here next Wednesday. Tune in next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We appreciate you all out there. Take care, and we'll see you next week.